Hola, welcome in everybody. um, this is a quick pop up. Um, I haven't been on in a long while. Are you guys see me okay? I don't know. Do you guys see me fine or no? Welcome in, guys. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. This is just a very hi Lala, a very quick pop up. Hi Leva. I'm doing a quick pop up to make this Byzantine star. I have to lay my setup flat the way it is right now because I think it's much easier for me. Let me see if I zoom in or out. What is the best way? In, out. Okay. All right. This is not necessarily a tutorial. It's just me going live while I work. Hopefully, my baby stays sleeping. Otherwise, we may get interrupted while I'm working. So this is just me going live while I work. So the whole point of the show is to create a pair for this star. This is called the Byzantine star, made with jump rings. As you see, I've laid out some rings already. I made one earlier, like a couple minutes ago, and this is created for. I'm creating these for an earring. So I have some earring studs that I already prepped. I have two studs. One is really tiny. I still need to figure out what I want to do with this one. So this I made handmade fully myself. I handmade this fully myself. Um, so the I still need to clean out some glue. So the post or the loop I made myself. I drilled the holes. The post I made myself. So you see the difference between the two. This is a much smaller pearl, and this is a much bigger pearl. This one has a pre-made post on it. So this is more classy in the sense it has a cleaner look and all of that shebang. This has a cleaner look. But this one, hi Dustin, this one I made from scratch. All drilled holes and use the wire to make a post. Use the wire to make the loop over there. Please excuse my nails. It's a working girl's working girl's nails. Especially if you're in the jewelry making business where you use your hands for almost practically everything, which you'll see as I go through the making process. Anyways, so this earring is the pearl. This is all natural, lavender colored pearl, farmed, and I mean, I saw the watched the farming process, and we have that pearl right there. And this is supposed to go right here as so. So I have a challenge that is coming up. I need to figure out how I'm going to solve the problem of connecting these two together. So that is how this is gonna look. So this is gonna go on there like that. But I don't think I can get this on directly. It would have been great. That would have been the best way for me to do it. Um, because then it will minimize the extra connection between the two. I would have preferred for it to go right there. I mean, I do have that, but the width of the ends over here is so much bigger and wouldn't fit properly on there. So this wouldn't work in the way that I would want it to, because that would have just been perfect. So this is why when you have it handmade yourself, you can pretty much gauge, the size of your opening, and you can also control that in the sense, before I attach to the pearl the post, I could very well, attach this first and then attach it in, so it just looks very seamless. So when you do it handmade, it's a little easier to control how things go. So, but I will probably make, it will probably be a different style from what I have in mind. Um, I still, maybe I might have to remake a handmade post for this one, because I really want it to look flush like that. I don't want to have any dangling. So I might use this pearl post for something else. I feel like that's probably what's gonna happen. And then I will make another post handmade for this star, to give it this look, the look that I actually really want, like that. I want it to, look exactly like that. Anyways, the reason for the live today is to make the second set, the pair for this one. So this is done, and I'm using 20 gauge wire, and 20 gauge jump rings to create the star. I already prepped out some of the rings, or the rings that I'm gonna use, because this is also takes time. Opening and closing rings, so I already pre-made some of those. The initial rings that I'm going to be working with, I already created in a 2x2 chain, just a simple 2x2. And these are going to be the initial units to start the star. And these are going to go onto the larger rings. So I have only two large rings for each star, and then have a bunch of smaller rings, about 40 small rings, of which I've prepped some of them. And for the star, because it's a 5 point star, it's a pair of two rings on each unit. So I already have like five pair of 2x2 laid out. So these are all about 20 rings in total for these units, and then another 20 rings to finish up the star. So to start, I'm going to um, so this weave, or this design, or this Byzantine star wouldn't be your beginner, especially if you're using tiny rings that I'm like me. I'm using like 20 gauge. If you're gonna be starting now, I would, recommend, practicing with 16 gauge. And when you get the hang and the feel and understand better how to create the star, then you can probably go lower. Hi, Stephen, welcome in. You could probably go lower. But because working with 20 gauge is really tricky, as you would see. I battle a lot in trying to, especially towards the end, it becomes a real battle. Hopefully, because this was a battle for me, hopefully I kind of understood, what needed to be done, and um, I'm able to, like, overcome the difficulty that I faced with this one. All right. To start, I'm just gonna attach these units, 2x2 units, onto the large one, and then double up the ring. So pretty much that's all I need to do. You know, just attach that like so, and then attach that like so, and then I'll just string all five on there like that. Do you guys hear me okay? Hi, Kimberly. Like so, and then I have all five units on there, and I'll close. And then I'll close the ring. So closing the ring, you need to like wiggle back and forth until you hear like a click, and then make sure. I need to make sure that this is flush. So this isn't flush, as you can see right there. And another way to get it fixed is to use your pliers to kind of press down a little like that. And then you see it looks like it's sitting as flush as it can get. Maybe wiggle a little bit more, and that looks flush. Now if I had to weld this close, this is a perfect flush. And then I could, use a pulse welder or arc welder to weld this close so it, stays. But that's like a lot of work, to weld each individual spot. That's a lot of work. um, Especially since I'm working with a lot of rings. A lot of people do it. Some people do it where they weld each ring closed, but that's a lot more time and a lot more. Of course, more time means the cost of the earring goes up drastically. Um, Anyways, for the purpose of this live, we are not doing any welding today. So we're just pretty much just gonna weave and that's it. So next we're gonna add the second ring and attach it, add it up onto all the other rings. I'm trying to stay in focus as much as I can. And then I'm just gonna pass that through, pass that through. I already have 3 on, and then pass that through as well. Alright, that went on weird. So I'm gonna do it again and then pass the last one. There we go. And I'm gonna close that. Also making sure that I get it all flush. Oof, yep, that can happen. And that's the problem with working with super fine gauge wire. So you need to be super careful when you do that or when you try to close it. You need to be very mindful. All right, I'm gonna go out of focus a lot because I need to have this sitting properly, and it's kind of hard to do it in frame, so I might go out of frame a lot. So now, there we go. That's sitting flush. I've been wanting to make this earring for a while now. Um, I don't know. Do I have anything in the shop? What do I have in my shop? Just some tutorials. Okay. Let me see if I can add more clone items into the shop. Um, mhm. Alright, so I loaded up the store. If you're here and you just want to take a look, and if you're watching me from YouTube, which would be a huge surprise, I'm actually streaming on Whatnot. And that's why when you hear me say shop, it's because my shop is on Whatnot. So if you feel like you want to join the stream from Whatnot, let me know and I could send you an invite. But I don't know if there's anyone currently watching on YouTube because I'm not tracking that. Welcome in, guys. We're making a Byzantine star. I'm trying to make this star. It's made in 14 karat gold field, a wire cut and made into jump rings. I made this earlier and I'm making the second pair. These are supposed to go on an earring, a pearl earring. So that's what I'm working on right now. All right, so I have all 5 units I have all 5 units on the large rings. There they are. And next is I'm going to do the Byzantine part of it, which is I'm going to fold. So this is the Byzantine part of the um so all this part where we have the 2 2 2. So the first two will be your two large rings, then two small rings, and two. These are all part of a Byzantine unit. And if you're setting up a half Byzantine unit, so next is the fold, the Byzantine fold, whereby you drop the two rings at the top to the side, and then you open up the two rings in the middle, push back so that those two rings at the side pull forward. You can use something, I'm using an owl. I could use a sturdy wire to kind of push them forward, so it kind of creates an eye in the middle like that. And you see that eye right there, you're going to pass two rings on there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take two rings and pass it on there like that and close. And then I'm going to take another two ring. I need to keep track of time because um, I have to be somewhere. And this was a quick pop-up. Hopefully, so this part of it is easy. It's then when I'm trying to create the points, that's where it gets really complicated. But hopefully I don't get into a lot of trouble doing that with this particular ring. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So next I'm going to do another one. I'm just going to pull that down, up, create the hole. So throw that eye right there. I'm going to pass two rings, and then I'm going to close that up. I think I have the Byzantine, how to make the Byzantine unit tutorial up in the shop. Let me see if I can have that pinned. So this is considered a half Byzantine right here. This is considered a half Byzantine. Let me pin the tutorial. Let's see, tutorial Byzantine. Or Tito, tuto. I'm gonna pin that. All right. So that should show you how to create the actual Byzantine weave. That's like one of the most classic weaves ever. I absolutely adore, and it's the most classic and what is the word, diverse weave, because you could make so many different variation of weaves with the Byzantine weave, and it's such a beautiful weave also. Hi bugs. I'm trying to stay in frame as much as possible. Let me see if I can move this down a little bit so that you guys can still see me. So right now we've got two sets left. Excuse me. Where are you all at? I'm streaming from Chicago today. Well, I live in Chicago, so where's the rest of you watching? Where are you watching from? So all of this part is like super beautiful and super easy. But the closing part is where it's like, oh, I grit my teeth a lot, especially because I'm working with this super tiny jump rings that are soft. So they tend to like get disfigured or mangled a lot. So that is where I waste a lot of jump rings. I'm trying to make the points. All right, I'm trying to stay in frame as much as possible. Let's see. All right, we go. There we go. And then have that. And I'll close that up. Oh, second one. Close that. If you guys have any questions, feel free to, let me know. Yep, I think we are just about being. Might have to end this live early. This was a quick pop up. How long have I been on? I don't even know. um, Only about 20 minutes. Okay. All right. The live is gonna be. It's about to be disrupted, guys. So bear with me. I might have to pop up later tonight. Now I'm gonna do the points, and that is creating these parts. And this gets very tricky. So the way to do this is you're gonna use a ring to connect this ring from one half of the half Byzantine and another half. So it's gonna be use a jump ring to connect this ring, this ring, this ring, and then this ring. So you're gonna connect two halves like so with two jump rings. So you're always working with pairs in pairs. So it's gonna be two rings. But for me, I try to go around singles first, like create the full connection first, and then double up the rings afterwards. So this gets really really tricky. Like I said, because I'm using tiny rings, it's really difficult to find that spot or the gap to pass the ring through. So this gets really, really tricky. And I might be pulled out of frame a lot in this part. And there we go. And not just, getting the rings. You tend to lose a lot of rings during this section, during this part. So as much as you pull close, you need to be mindful. And so I'm just gonna pass that through and get it to go through those other two. Yeah, I'm struggling right now to pass it through. So I got one side in. I need to, but it came out the wrong way. So I need to have it go under and now there we go. Like that. That was tricky. It's always very tricky. So that's the problem. You see a beautiful piece of jewelry and you don't realize the amount of work or technique it takes to get that jewelry piece together. And then just gonna make sure that's the rings are closed shut and flush. And then I will tuck them in. Since I'm not welding and I need to protect that opening, I usually will tuck the join into right into the unit so it stays hidden. That way it kind of helps it from prevents it from snagging on clothing. So I also do that quality check when I'm done going around the thing and making sure that most of the points at the top are all tucked in to the bottom. Alright, this part is always very tricky. Mm-hmm. There, we got the second one in. You notice I had to use my finger to kind of like get that working. And push this in again. Uh-oh. My boss woke up, so I might have to. Hi, boss. How are you, baby? Did you sleep well? My boss woke up from her nap, so I might have to end this live. If she gets very fussy, I might have to end this live early and before I finish this. So I'm gonna keep going until I can no longer proceed with her. Open that up a little bit and then try to gently pass that in. Oof. Do it again. Oh, mama. There we go. There we go. There we go. What happened, baby? You want water? Hmm? Do you want water? Should I give you water? So I've got 3 in, I have 2 to go. So it gets trickier as you move along. Oh, you want water, babe? Mm-hmm. Where is she? I'm using my nails to kind of help me guide the ring through the other part. You want water? What do you want? No? Alright, this ring got mangled because see that? So that could happen. What is it, mommy? Alright, so let's do this one. Let's do this one. What happened, mama? Alright, I have to go. Let me see. Let me see what she needs. Here, let's get you some water. What do you want? No, you don't want water? What do you want? What do you want? We added juice, so I can your coffee, so you need to drink some water to help your cough. Yeah, take some water. It will help. Take this first, please. Alright, it's right there. What do you want? You don't have juice. There's no juice, so I don't know what you want. finish what I'm doing. You want to watch Paw Patrol? Let's go watch Paw Patrol while you drink water. Here you go. What else do you want? If you don't tell me, I cannot help you. What else do you want? All right, I kind of got her distracted for a little bit so that I can, finish this up, and then I'll um end the live to go take care of her. I don't want her sitting there and watching TV all afternoon. So I'm gonna try this one more time. So you notice that the closer you get to ending, the harder it is to walk the rings to go in. And once again, because these are super fine rings, it gets really, really tricky and really, really difficult. So I'm just trying to. So when you use larger rings, you're able to actually pinch this close, and you have a better grip, and it's easier to see where to go. But it's kind of harder to get a grip when you use this little rings. Then I think I was able to get that in, thankfully. Yeah, I'm gonna go there closed. Let me get that closed. Mm, and then tuck it in also. I would say the difficulty level of this is probably expert or intermediate to expert. Especially, once again, if you're using fine jump rings like I am right now. If you're using 16 gauge jump rings, those are easier to work with because they're much sturdier and you have like room to manipulate the rings. Even 18 gauge jump rings are also equally easier to work with. A lot easier to work with. So the bigger the rings, Then the bigger pawn. Alright, I was able to get all 5 points. That does not mean the hurdle is done. Getting a second ring in is equally difficult, but once you get this part done, you may decide, oh, I don't want to have to deal with, adding a second one. You might be fine getting away with it because you already have your points. Um, but it's always best to double those up. Mm. So you might feel like, I have my points and I'm done. So that is the reason I try to like do the points first with single rings and then double up later. That way, if I'm finding or if I'm having difficulties, I can easily just work only with the single part. But I always try to double up the rings because that's the way to do it. So what I'm doing right now is tucking in the points, the area where we have joints into the unit, so the joints are not visible. And then I'm just inspecting to see if any rings opened up while I was trying to wiggle my way through. And it looks good. And I can tuck in more points and just make sure it's a clean start. Next, I'm gonna double up those point rings. This is also not super easy as well because it's super tight. So this is equally not as simple. So I find that pulling this top ring down kind of helps a little bit. And the opening, the jump ring that I'm working with a lot, giving a bigger opening kind of helps too. So I'm just gonna try to pass that in there. This is stiff. Let's try another point and see if we can get one in. This is, if you're not finding it easy, you can try to use your awl to help you pull and create some space. And push that down. So that all kind of helped. So I kind of got that in on that point. There we go. And then I'm just going to make sure that this is sitting really flush. And tuck the joint in. Tuck those in. Alright, next I'm going to use the owl again to manipulate and create try to get a bigger hole. And then I'll use a ring to go in there, get a pass through. Do that again. Maybe on that side. Yeah, there, that went through. I went through that in. Okay. So I did two already, and I need to finish up the remaining three. Finish up the remaining three and find the best part that will let me go in. Not that side. Do the same. Okay. So what I'm realizing is some sides are easier to work with than others in terms of I'll show you. So when I try to pass the ring on the top of the already placed ring on one side, it seems very hard. But then when I turn it around and do it on the other side, the second ring seems to go flow easier. So I'll probably recommend trying that trick. So when it seems like you're struggling to pass the ring on one side, maybe flipping it over and trying on the other side of the already added ring might make your work, easier to um, make it easier to manipulate. But yeah, um, this is not a way for the faint of heart. This is super tricky. If I were to create a tutorial, I'll probably see how what the ease of creating with a 16 gauge with a much bigger jump ring is. If I don't think it will be easy for non-chain mailers to, I would I will desist from creating a tutorial on this. Yeah, so I'm just gonna just make sure this is flush that came up. So I'm gonna close that up again. Um, and then tuck it in there. Alright, I'm gonna pass the second one in. How are you guys doing? How's your afternoon? You guys having a fun day? That was hard. Let's see if I can do it from this side. Yep, this looks like a much easier side to go through. Do I think I opened this up too much? So I'm gonna try again. Alright, that's all messed up. So that's one ring down. Welcome in. Hi, how's everyone doing? We're making a star for an earring. We're at the last stages of finishing the star. It's just the difficult parts. We're going through the difficult parts of the process. All right, once again, I could use my owl to help me create room. And I got that in. So also talking, so making sure this flush, tuck in that ring. And I have just the one star left. Doing that, and then using my owl to help guide where my ring is gonna go. Just mostly using it to create the path for the ring. I will. Oh wow, there, so easy. And we finished it. Unbelievable. I didn't think I'll finish it today, this afternoon. It's finished. So it's about 48 minutes, give or take, to create this one star. I mean, in between, I think I lost maybe 10, 12 minutes trying to take care of my kids. So I'll say about 35 or 30, 36 minutes to make one star. Hi, welcome in, Dragonfly. And then we have the two. So these are gonna go on a pearl stud, like so. So this is our pearl stud. This is our pearl stud, and these are gonna go as an attachment right there on the pearl stud. And there we have it. Beautiful earrings. What do you guys think? Try not to scratch this. So what do you guys think? The star is done. I need to figure out how to get this on. I might have to make my own stud. This is pre-made using this post. Even if I were to open this up, let's see. Let's try. I don't think I can pass. So I have that. I don't think I can pass. That might not be strong enough or sturdy enough to hold this charm. Yep, there's not enough room. There's enough room to hold a single ring. So maybe the way to go about this is to one ring, um, take out one ring from one point and attach. But I don't feel very confident. I don't know if I want to do that. But either ways, oh, this looks really nice. That is how that will look. That is the entire plan for the earrings. Like that. It's a beautiful stud. Let me switch this out. I don't know. I don't want to move it. But oof. So right now it's hanging on just one ring. So I might need to take out the second ring just so it can attach to the stud. But I'm not sure how I like that idea. So there we go. That's how that's it. Like so. Do you like it? What do you think? Is it pretty or no? Oh, I guess you like it. Thank you. Thank you for the heart. Thank you for the hearts. Let me put this on the card. Let me see if I can find something to display this properly. Let's see. Um, okay, so there. So that's what that looks like. That's what that looks like. Let me attach the second one. So right now, like I said, it's just sitting on one ring. It's not sitting on both rings because there's not enough room on the loop to hold the two rings. So while I try to understand, you know, meantime, I'm just gonna, I'm just showing what the earring is supposed to look like when the project is fully completed. All right, and here's the second one. Right there you go. That's the earrings. Beautiful lavender pearl earrings. All right, I'm gonna call it it's almost an hour since I've been on. I need to go take care of family. It was a pleasure working on these earrings. That's what that looks like. It's really gorgeous. With a beautiful natural freshwater pearl, not dyed. These are the natural colors of the pearl. The colors are gotten from the nacre on the shell, depending on where the pearl is harvested from. Very beautiful earrings. All right, I'm gonna call it a day. Have a great rest of the day. I might come on again tonight. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I come on tonight. I'll see you guys later today. Let's read into Anna Dewey. She's in vintage and antique jewelry. Let's go say hi. Or actually, let's go see TLC Mama Bear. It's been a minute. She's in arts and print. She's also a handmade seller in arts and print. Right now, she's streaming in arts and print. Alright, bye.